sound. Okay, we're getting people in now. Okay, we're doing this a little unconventionally from our normal method. All right, there we go. We're in a beautiful healing center called Solterra, and they've been kind enough to let us plug in our RV. We're going to be doing some shows with them tomorrow. We've got 2 or 3 interviews we're going to do with the folks that are associated here, and then we're also going to cover a cosmic improv tomorrow night from 7 to 9 Eastern. Hello, everybody. We're on a little bit of a restriction with Facebook, so if you could share these out, I'd appreciate it. I really would. Let's see. Let me just give it a couple of minutes, and then I'm gonna. You guys are familiar with Patrick McCormick. Cardtron is in the house as well, and Rebekah Renee, who came on to the show once. It was a very popular show. Did quite, yeah. We've got one microphone, so we're going to use it as a talking stick. So let me just make sure that everything is copacetic. And I guess if there's any problem, people would have told me by now. Thon has an Irish name. Who is Thon? Is that you? Is that your nickname? Yeah, Thon. So we're just doing this spontaneously as usual. It's been a very powerful day. I'm still somewhat discombobulated. Is it working?
So if I go on your Todd Medina page, this should
Yeah.
show up there, right?
Yeah, it'll show up.
I'm not seeing it yet. I'm seeing it.
Refresh it. Okay, let's get this out. And then let me go in here. 1 second. You know what? We're not getting comments. Here we go. Okay, 1 second. Okay, let's see here. Boom, 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 boom. It's warming up in here too, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right, how's it going, everyone? Thon means that one. That one. Hey, Kamara, what's going on? Good to see you. All right. So we got Patrick McCormick here and Rebekah Renee. And Patrick's been on 4 or 5 times. He's been channeling Cardtron for, I think, almost 20 years, right? Well,
94.
94. Oh, that's 25 years, 25 plus years. And Rebekah is connected to the angels. And so we're just going to have a little, our own little cosmic improv tonight. Let me just remind you again, tomorrow, 7 o'clock Eastern, which is midnight in London. That's going to be like midday down under, late afternoon on the West Coast. We're going to cover a 2-hour cosmic improv here at Solterra. And we're going to have a couple of 2-3 interviews during the day with some of the people over here that are involved with Solterra. So we'll get this started. We'll go ahead and put Rebekah on the spot and let ladies go first. If you got anything you want to say, we expect to be talking to both of them as well as Cardtron will be popping in, I'm sure. Let me just restate one thing. There's been a lot of energy the last 24 to 48 hours. A lot of people are writing about it, doing videos about it, feeling it, and just want you to know you're not alone. Hopefully this show will help you a little bit. Maybe these two, with their connection can shed some light on what's going on. We can all share what we're going through.
Hi guys, welcome. So yeah, definitely a lot of you are probably feeling the full moon is waxing. I myself went to bed around 4 a.m. last night. Especially to those of you that are energy sensitive, you may have noticed you were up till 2, 3, 4 in the morning. On the positive note, and we were just talking about this, our manifestations are happening quicker than ever. And for example, what we mean is, oh, $300, $500 can show up in your PayPal, especially to those that are light workers. Not that we have poverty consciousness, but we're out of the traditional 3D jobs. So we literally fully become dependent on the universe to support our needs. And especially if we're traveling, whatever we're called to. And sometimes we may not, what's the word I want to use, be able to see what's that far ahead. And so things like that are things that you in your life, especially if you're a full-time healer, may notice coming up, that the money may show up on the day that the bill is due, but nevertheless, the money showed up. So just know that if that's happening to you, that it's coming no matter what. And when you set that intention, I want to say this, from my own experience, the universe will respond to those expectations in unbelievable ways, in sources that you may never have thought of. It's indescribable. So if you're on this path, as we all are, the three of us and many of you, that is happening quicker than ever. You just set the intention and more or less just expect it, don't go into fear, and it will show up. Another thing, we're coming to you from Clearwater, Florida. I don't know if any of you follow Patricia Cota-Robles, but she just recently talked about an Atlantean portal in this area. So if anyone is feeling drawn to Florida, you're right on schedule. And I know it's cold where y'all are, so that may be another thing in the upper 48. But listen to the call definitely and come down. She said, I think it was Florida, the Caribbean, Santo Domingo, and what was the other one? What was the other one? Cuba. Yes. So for some reason it's coming this way. So you might hear a lot about Atlantis this year. And it's not so much the negative aspects. We kind of already been there, done that, the greed, the this, the that. But the Atlantis rising that Edgar Cayce talked about, it's happening right now and it is palpable. And I'll give you an example. We are planning a mini retreat to Bimini in April, and we just came back there, like 3 weeks ago, I want to say? January. 3 weeks ago. And I had given him a session, and Angel Gabriel came in and said, oh my God, tell him that the Atlantean Firestone is calling him, and that he's called to work with it, and that he's going to be going. Literally the next day, a friend from Alaska texted me a picture of two of the, what was the name of the book? Bimini, Atlantis Rising, something Bimini and the Firestone. And by the next evening, the tickets were booked, and she sponsored the whole trip, by the way. So that those instant manifestations, that's what I'm talking about. It may be people supporting you. It may come in different ways than you're used to. It may be someone offering you a place to stay, you traveling more, but just know that the synchronicities are going to guide you and everything you need is going to show up. That's a huge thing that is happening this 2020 more than ever before. And especially I want to say the synchronicity, the psychic impressions. For example, someone that I know was in a dream, one of my dreams, lucid dreams are a huge one this week too, and this month, but was in a dream and I saw him and a family member, and they're in another country, in this brand new home. And it was interesting because each room had different tiles. So I haven't fully interpreted the dream, but I said, yeah, you were in my dream. It was very lucid and I was helping you unpack stuff or something like that. And he said, that's interesting because I have a family member that is just moved, the same family member just is in the process of moving. So it was kind of like I experienced that with them from over here in my country, and things like that. Very lucid dreams. A lot of messages are coming this year. Just ask the universe. It's one thing too. Some people don't do enough specifically, like, what do you want to happen with this, this, and this? And then be very clear with show me, and you'll be surprised the things that you get shown. It is mind-blowing when you really tap in to that multi-dimensional aspect of yourself. And tapping into the angels also, and the messages that they will give you. It's it's sometimes I want to say breathtaking. So I hope you enjoy the show today. This is totally spontaneous. Have no idea what we're going to talk about, but it's heating up in here with all of our energies. This is a very powerful and palpable group. So definitely too, towards the end, if anyone needs any healing, we will all be happy to do something for you. And I'll pass this to you for a minute or two,
Okay.
and we'll have Kartron come through.
Well, we can talk if you want to say anything or whatever.
Go ahead.
Okay.
They said they might need more light. Is that like?
Okay, guys. If this too illuminated, that's pretty bright.
Oh, that looks pretty cool to me.
Yes.
Okay.
It's like, because all you need is love.
Oh,
look,
love is
hi,
all
how you
you
doing,
need.
love? Oh my God, it's so nice here. Quick, hold up, love, everybody. That's right. There's another one. Oh yes. And so, hi everybody. This is Patrick McCormick, and if you're feeling crazy on the edge right now, then you're probably quite normal, because there's an insanity that can happen when you're going through major changes of the structures called paradigms. Which are the main structures that things operate in, in your matrix, or like in this third dimensional one, you have the polarity, positive, negative, and all the belief structures and everything else connected with it, including all the social and governmental structures. And as that completes, and it starts finishing its movie, then it will run out of story. And so that paradigm runs out of itself and it starts shutting down, and all the stuff that's in there comes up and amplifies, and it's chaotic. And so if you're caught up into that in whatever way of having a lot of possessions, or that's your identity or your career, then you can go through very tumultuous changes. So what Cartron Experience does on a regular basis is to help you just get into that center space through the 3 breaths of soul and stuff like that, so that you can then be in that immutable center that allows you to be unaffected a lot more by the changes of these paradigms. The new one coming in isn't in yet, so but pieces are coming in. There's really transmissions, and even Todd was mentioning this about how there's some real dynamic stuff going on that's pretty interesting. And so it's unique, to say the least. So if you guys are feeling a bit of chaos, then you're like the new normal. And so it can be pretty crazy. And Todd, I was actually making some diagrams about what you were talking. And maybe Cartron should talk about that, because he can explain the interdimensional, the quantum sciences that go with these changeovers of what's happening. And then he can also tune in and tell you what the galactic weather report is, which is kind of like what's coming down the pipe towards us here in the physical, as beings who are dealing with spirituality and awakening, and having your renewal of your paradigm, your purpose and everything else, because everything connected with it, our former identity of the timeline before 2012, that's like going, okay, but we're learning how not to operate by that anymore, because this other timeline and paradigm of divine abundance and stuff is coming in. But a lot of us still are learning we still want our training wheels on, because it can be very intense when suddenly you're going somewhere because you were guided to, and you don't have your intuition all lined up, and now you hit this void pocket and you don't have money and the resources aren't there, and okay, this is how you're going to trust, and suddenly it shows up. So it's a very good school of spiritual knocks sometimes. And so it's one of these things where you get to learn to fly, and so it's really unique. So what I am dealing with is remodeling a camper that is basically a very third dimensional thing, but we're turning it into an Angels 911 studio. But at the same time, I'm learning how to paint and do work on a camper, but at the same time, there's these giant possibilities happening. So there's an extreme dichotomy between the different aspects of my life. And so if you feel a bit schizophrenic, then that's normal, because your thirder stuff, the third dimensional things are, completing, but then you got to come in, you're like ready to do this big world changing event or reset. And you come down, you got to like make sure your cat has food. So it's pretty interesting. Oh, gas in the tank still needed. With the hyperdrive is on its way, but they said that 100 years ago from Sirius. So it's a very interesting dance, isn't it? going from the third to the fifth to the fourth to the 2.5 to whatever, and all this stuff that's coming up, being cleared out, completing, and all this really amplified, hey, louder car salesman approach. And at the same time, this new voice is coming in, but we're finding out that it's the quietest voice within. So learning how to have that still quiet voice within become the loudest that we can hear to be guiding us among this everything from the chaos and the tumult to the tranquility is a very interesting school. So that's what you're all in case you're wondering why it feels like you're crazy, but you can't prove it yet. So that's what's happening. And so Todd, you've been going through some major hoo-ha's of stuff.
Hoo-ha's. Yeah, I think a lot of people have. We had a show earlier today with Vera Ingeborg. We were both discombobulated. We talked about it a little bit. I don't want to go back over too much of it, but there definitely, Morgan's put up a couple of posts over the last 5 days that outline some of the stuff going on. And without getting into all the intricacies of it, obviously, we've all done a lot of work in the ethers, energetically. And, we've been getting the message that all of our bodies are in alignment. Now it's time for the physical body to make to fall into alignment with the rest of the bodies. And I think that's pretty much where we're all headed collectively. A lot of the stuff that's been going on recently has been very much felt like a collective thing, although it always has a personal aspect to it. But the bottom line is that, this is where the rubber meets the road now. We've got to embody this and even further than that, our actions, our thoughts and our words have to line up with the alignment of our other bodies. And that also means that, the body is the temple. I don't think this gives anyone carte blanche to go out and tell anybody what they should or shouldn't eat or anything like that. I think it's all a personal trip, but we do have to honor that. And the universe is not going to let us slide. So, Morgan and I received a very strong message 3 nights ago, and then another one, 4 nights ago, and then another one 2 nights ago, and then yesterday, and we're in 100%, like all of you are. We're in. We've come this far. We didn't come this far to stop now or slow down. We're following the synchronicities. We're understanding that the physical body is much more than an organic. It's in transformation now. It's a Merkaba. It's a light body. I mean, all this stuff is coming into play, but it's not going to happen unless we do our part and walk the talk, all of us. So that's kind of the message we've been getting. I'm excited to hear what they have to say and to add to that.
So,
Well, I was going to say, for people that I know that know me personally, my biggest complaint is vertigo. So once you do, if you think about it, our bodies have changed so much in the past 5 years. And for some people, things like crying is looked at as a bad thing. That is one of the most cleansing things you can do. And it gets you in touch with your humanity, your human aspect. Something that the angels can't do, that we do, we can feel. And yeah, we sometimes feel really shitty things, but we can also feel ecstasy, bliss, and high vibrations of love that are beyond human comprehension. And sometimes, depending on your connection to the angels, sometimes you want to leave your body and go with them because it's so unconditional. There's no judgment, nothing. It's so ecstatic that there are times when I've connected with them on such an amazing level, whether it be in a healing session with somebody or with a group or whatever, or just by myself. And I've actually cried and had separation anxiety. So just know that another thing about the angels that some people forget to ask, that's their main mission, to go out and make arrangements for us, huge arrangements. For example, like this one today, there's no doubt in my mind or soul that this is divinely inspired. So But as they work with you and purge your cellular memory, purge your density, we drop density. That's the whole goal of moving into the light body, to remove emotional, physical, mental heaviness. We do become light, and it feels amazing. It's just that we become, I want to say, without a veil. Everyone talks about the veil. Some of us don't have a veil anymore, including many of you. So we don't have this veil. So we are really back and forth in the dimensions, and just it can be exhausting sometimes, and you can feel, I want to say, like you're on drugs a little bit, and you haven't taken anything. And for some people, that can be the thing to come back into the body, like you were saying, and pay the bill, or put gas in the car, or even drive, can be like, what the hell's this? So another thing, we pulse in and out of our body over 144,000 times a minute. So that's another thing. If you've ever experienced it, we all experience it, but have been conscious of it, it can be a little freaky. And I'm just saying this in case it's happened to you. It happened to me in Clearwater, Florida about 2 years ago. I flashed back into my vessel. I had been, I don't know, out only for what felt like an Earth minute or two, and I didn't remember anything. I didn't know where I was, and I drive these streets all the time, and I had to pull over, and I started, I want to say, almost having a panic attack. And then they showed me how we flash in and out really quickly, because we're vibrating, we're pulsating. So once I understood that, I realized, okay, if this happens again, I'm coming back in, and they'll drive the car for you, just to let you know. So and they're good drivers, by the way, better than we are, totally good drivers. So coming into the light body has its interesting things, different smells, everything enhances, different sights, seeing, for example, he's probably listening right now, a wonderful friend named Bigfoot from Brooklyn, New York. And we were at an event, it was Patrick and I one time in a yoga studio, and I was in my angel sight, in that extra light body psychic sense, and I literally watched him dematerialize. And he's a big guy. I watched his atomic structure just disappear, and it was like, what the hell was that? I thought like only yogis could do that or something like that. And then he appeared back into form, and I realized what I was witnessing was that pulsing in and out, that brief split second where he was here and then he was gone. And honest to God, people do ayahuasca to have this stuff. So there are cool things, but don't get freaked out if you get that kind of sight and you're just like, okay, what am I seeing? It's this world is not really what it seems, this third dimension. So I'll turn this over.
That's for sure. And so your entertainment may change while you are waking up. Like I will go after midnight to Walmart and watch these stories that people live that they don't realize that they're source. And it's like, wow, these people actually don't realize that they're part of God or whatever. And they're just totally into their roles. So they're really good actors on stage of the incarnation club. And so if you feel like you're becoming closet-like and you can't really relate with anybody, because that's what happens and you become like this quantum stasis, then you start not relating to what you've known, and then you wind up, not there yet. The reality hasn't shown up or whatever. So and some of you who've been doing this work a long time, have you realized that when you did the work and you really tried to get it going maybe a decade or some ago, and it didn't work and you had to shelve it, that's because you were setting the template, the parameters, so that then it wasn't your time, literally. So your timeline wasn't here yet, but you were doing the work. And now your dreams may start to spark again, which includes your passion and your vision and the clarity. Like, oh yeah, I used to do that, because it wasn't for that paradigm that's leaving. You were planting the seed of your own foundation of self-fulfilling prophecy. And now you may be getting these musings of like, oh yeah, that's what I used to do. And that's what my passion was, but then I had to get a life. So it's a very interesting dance when you have a body and you're in a good awake state. So also the other thing that might happen is, doesn't matter your age group, we know 70-year-olds that are starting to wake up, and so their libido starts rising. And so we call them 70-teen-year-olds, and they're like, I haven't been dating for 40 years. It's like, well, that's that energy that's rising up. So if you get this going, then the universe doesn't look at age.
Yeah, there's a particular light worker group in California. The one lady, she was what we call the 80-teen-year-olds. we were at an event at someone's house, and she come up to me. She had this like platinum hair. She's chewing bubble gum, bright pink, hot pink lipstick, and this like really seductive outfit. And I'm looking at her like, full of life. And she said, "Hi, my name's Jyoti. I'm a rebirther," and proceeded to tell me all the things that she does with her 50-year-old boyfriend. Mind you, she's in her mid 80s. You would have never have recognized this. And what I realized, oh my God, she's regenerated herself, her organs. She's into her light body. She reversed the aging. She's getting younger and younger and younger. So know that that's possible. You don't have to get wrinkles. You don't have to get old. We regenerate constantly.
Yeah,
It's just really cool. It is.
When the angels come in a solar way, it's like, I got to take a shower sometimes after every show, because when her angels come in, they're like made of fire. And if you're in a small confined space and you can't run the air conditioner because it's too loud, then you're like, so sometimes, guys, we won't be able to do shows in the camper because it's just too hot in Florida. So we go to the beach. What? Yeah, the dragons. How many of you guys have had dragons show up lately? And it's like fiery and different colors, right? So and so that's interesting. So Todd, how have you been handling this energy? And I mean, wow, you actually have a show and everything. It's pretty cool. It's like, let's interview Todd, shall we?
Oh, this is funny. How do I handle the energy? I don't even know how to answer that. Well, I almost went into asshole mode this morning when it hit me. I was at Walmart actually, and I was fine. And then I went to the back and I snapped at Morgan. Yeah. And anyway, she's always good about it. I don't know. I did notice with both of us today, I woke up talking about it. She's very quiet. She's doing mandalas. That's how she processes things and anchors things. The colors are very interesting that she's using. They're different shades of blue. There's some really powerful dark blue, kind of baby blue. I don't know. This speaking to the throat chakra, speaking to the things that I've been pulling down, which is basically it's time for everyone to step up. The universe is going to, let go or be dragged. It's gonna be pushing you. It's happening collectively. It's also happening inside of us. And if we're on our game, we can have a fairly balanced ride through this thing, especially now. I think that, for the most part, I'm listening, especially the last few days. And this thing that came in the last couple days, the one that I was referring to that Morgan wrote about, where our team really got adamant with us. I mean, she woke up yesterday 4:30 in the morning. They were basically screaming at her for half an hour. And normally the mood of these transmissions are always really, full of unconditional love. This seemed to be, hey, you know what? It's time to get real. And I thought it was interesting. I spent the day with her, working through this stuff. And when she put the post up last night, she told me, she said, do you think people are going to get it? And I said, I think women are, and I don't even know why I said that, but to me, there seems to be, and other people have been talking about it, there seems to be a lot of impact on the feminine body, processing all this old stuff and getting it out of the muscular and the somatic and the cellular and everything. Somebody said earlier that they thought it was the wounded masculine aspects coming out. That makes sense to me, and it really doesn't matter. I guess what I'm really getting to is that the more we talk about it and the more we utilize the throat chakra, the more we share, then the more code that's offered and put out into the atmosphere, so to speak, and we all start to pick up on it. But I want to go back to what she wrote last night, because what I'm starting to see happen, even though Morgan and I, and just like this couple here, has a lot of connection, including apparitions, in our bedroom and in our life, there seems to be more of an emphasis now on the human part of us. And so that means that it's not as fantastic. It's not as, cool and magnificent and, and all that stuff, all the superlatives. It's the human part, like the part that we've been wanting to get away from. which somehow or another in the paradoxical teaching of the universe seems to hold some incredible code within itself. And I think this is how we create the new template and the new blueprint, is by actually embracing the human part of us. We've done it with all the other bodies that we have. We've done it in the ethers. We've talked to angels. We've all this stuff. We all have these different connections with the universal faces. And now it's time to go into the body and really walk the talk. I want to just read this one paragraph, because to me, this really kind of spells it out. Because, we think we've got to do this particular activation or this meditation or this chanting or whatever, and those things are great, but when it gets really right down to it, it's how we conduct our lives, how we align or don't align with universal will. And when we do that, that's not a pious purity type of comment. That is just a to thine own self be true type of comment. So basically what we were receiving in the, I don't want to say that, well, the gist of this post that she put up, which has gotten a huge response, is in regard to how we distract ourselves. And as it was explained, anything that we might call an addiction, well beyond the connotation that we normally give addiction, is a distraction. Distractions are creations created by the self to create the experience of disempowerment. We can't get our power back until we realize how we've given it away. Many of us are currently asking about our personal power, moving away from external projection and blame, and taking full responsibility for the creations of that belief. We're being offered an opportunity to gather back, bring back to self our power. So I think we should give ourselves some credit. I think that we have started to assume the responsibility. There's a lot less finger pointing going on around now in these light worker communities and social media. And when there is finger pointing, it pretty much just passes real quick. Everybody sees it for what it is, including the person that was on the receiving end or the giving end. Distractions are human 3D addictions, such as drugs, alcohol, nicotine, work, sex, masturbation, porn, lust, being ill, exercise, spending, debt, food, certain emotions, caffeine, refined sugar, carbs, ecstasy, love, false sugar, self-hatred, avoidance, sodas, TV, internet, Facebook, phones, over-talking, gossip, anger, drama, poverty, scarcity, people-pleasing, escapism, avoiding, immaturity, codependency with animals and pets, self-grandeur, new age spirituality, courses, gurus, teachers, other people's opinions. It can be anything and many things for each one of us, but the bottom line is, if it's distracting you from the work at hand, from the mission at hand, from the purpose at hand, then that's an addiction. And this is what we understood without a shadow of a doubt yesterday. We made the choices that we made for ourselves, and we're moving forward because it came in really, really loud and clear. Like I can't even remember the last time something came in that, I don't want to say harsh, but it came in very, very straightforward, very direct, no BS. If you guys don't want to do this, that's fine, but ball game's over. And, and it's not going to be the type of life that you've been living. So we thrown in 100% like all of you are. And, that's all I pretty much got. Maybe we can,
Yes. I just got some information while you were talking. It's so true, all of those things. And we all do them. Some of them are, we've done them in the past. And that is the key to, you think about it, when we leave this realm, we want to have a really good life review. We instantly review. And we don't want to watch the movie and say, oh my God, I really effed this up here, or I was addicted to this and therefore missed out on this, that, and this. So yeah, in a sense, that can be a wake-up call, and wake-up calls are good. We want them while we're still alive. We don't want those loud wake-up calls, like you say, such as car accidents, things like that. So yeah, to get those messages on what we need to work on, what we need to change, while we're here, we're in bodies, is so ideal, and we can make the changes. And what is it, 21 days till something becomes a habit? Even if they're little steps along the way. But yeah, definitely, especially if we came here to overcome something that we've tried 20 times to overcome, now is definitely the time to do it. this is such an important time to be here. So definitely in terms of the afterlife perspective, we can overcome all these things too, especially if we hold the vision that we can. You'd be surprised how strong you truly are. It's pretty amazing.
Yep. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. And it's so weird. Like right when we do a show, Todd, it's like I got to get ready, and I'm flipping dimensions, and these systems that are coming in. I don't know if you guys are getting these more advanced levels of downloads or whatever, but it's like I'm finding pieces that I've worked on and contemplated for 20, 30 years are suddenly coming in saying, oh, this fits here and here and here. Stuff about time and event horizons and how to create quantum spaces and alternate realities, and it's like, whoa, why am I getting all this stuff? And so we really are in the graduate degree of this process, and so some of you guys maybe same message that Todd had. It's like, okay, this is it, you're gonna do this, right? And I understand their methodology of cheering section, and so it's pretty interesting when you are winding up, on the other end of that cheer. So how do you balance out the material and the physical and the spiritual and stuff like that? I was getting these diagrams, and so if you do want Cartron to come through, I could have him come through and he could then talk about these. Yeah. The visual aids, people like them. I hope these aren't backwards, so we'll see. Wait, oh, it's love. It's correct. Okay, so now this will be all right. So Cartron will come through, and I don't know if somebody will let God hold the mic there. Okay. Oh, love's holding the mic.
Want me to hold it?
It doesn't matter. It's really interesting to look at the different levels of consciousness. And when we say that, we mean the different levels of consciousness, because there's a buoyancy or a density depending on the level of frequency of your awareness. And so if you feel this rock, this weight holding you down, those are like the sandbags, and it may be that something no longer vibrates or resonates with you. And really, have you noticed how sometimes your hand will be forced to make that decision, especially if you signed up? How many of you are sometimes will say, oh, that's my karma, or oops, okay, all right, I'm busted. And you know that this is something that you'll have to do. And so procrastination is pretty soon a luxury that many of you will no longer have. Hello, this is Cartron. Todd, when you were talking about, we used to do these shows and now we've slowed down and all this stuff's going on and all that. Recently, when Patrick and Rebekah first arrived, well, here's what's going on. You have 2 radio shows. Your radio show upstairs is the one that you're broadcasting, and then you have the one below. So here's what's going on. If you have teams going on, everybody, you have the cosmic radio, right? So the cosmic radio may be using up your time and energy. And then you have this part, when the circle part of this diagram, and you have the earthly radio. So there's a recalibration going on, and this is like part of the galactic weather report. You see, the cosmic radio is where you're getting recounseled, you're being reassigned, covenants are completing during ascensions, and it's very interesting. So you've got this energy that's really quickening and activating things. And so as that happens, everybody, it's okay to take your time. Like Todd was saying, we used to do all these shows and then just slow down. It's like, well, that's because you're upstairs broadcasting. And so here's what's a diagram that can happen. Right. Okay. So this is basically what you were saying. I don't know what it is. It's coming in. Well, it's coming in hot. Okay, so the cosmic energy is coming in, and right now, everybody, what's going on is there's a spiraling up in the pyramid of the evolution of reality. It is a quickening, right? And each layer that you go up, there's points that we have these vertical lines on this diagram. That's where you can jump in the different layers of reality, of evolution, and it is vibrationally organized. So if you no longer resonate with something, then it will jettison down, and you just go up in buoyancy. And so the circles of evolution can happen. And so when you get towards the capstone of this process, there's a quickening that's quite dynamic. And so if you guys are wondering how your new seen and unseen is going to work, and you've got this chaos and this cacophony of crazy, then it's okay, because this is what's happening on both a collective level, an ancestral level, an ancient civilization becoming new again, and a human level, an individual, okay? So you can liken this as an archetype, and at the same time, you can then look at it as basically for the whole collective of humanity. So we have up here this L, and that's Lemuria, and that's like a feminine. And then you have the Atlantean at the bottom, and that's like a masculine. So the Atlantean is a kinetic energy, right? It's structured, it's a movement, more of a masculine frequency. And the Lemurian energy then is the feminine, divine, unseen. What this is basically the finalization and the completion of not only the old divorce of when Atlantis and Lemuria didn't get along too well because they had whatever, but now there's a coming together of that in yourselves as individuals, and at the same time, it's coming together for humanity. And so you may notice as this Atlantean energy comes up, it is a golden age, but there's this latent stasis vibration. And what's going on is it's coming up, and so you may notice a quickening. This kinetic energy of the Atlantean ilk without all the oh my God, I got to heal, or I pressed the wrong button, or whatever story. It's like, okay, drop all that and look at this as an objective, right? If you're showing up now and whatever role you played, then this is a kinetic energy, and it's creating a quickening in your ability to manifest and your ability to precipitate. Isn't that right, Rebekah? And so you may notice things coming in quicker and faster and like that, because Lemuria cannot land into the material, not really this paradigm, but the one that's coming in now. This is the part of the formulation, is that the divine feminine, the spirit. See, Lemuria kind of had the soul of Atlantis. Atlantis had the body of Lemuria. And so it was this that didn't quite happen. There could have been a possibility of basically removing the necessity of the last Shadow Yuga, but it was necessary. And so as your cosmic radios come in at the same time, here's this thing. And so coming in hot, right? The cosmic energy comes in, goes down, disturbs the bottom of this cyclic evolution pyramid structure of your awakening and going up vibrationally. And then it goes, oh my God. So it's coming in hot, and it goes below your process as individuals, as humanity. And then it goes boink, boink, boink. And now it's going, oh, higher, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's like, how many of you can no longer sit on your cosmic couches? And it will kick your ass in gear. So that's what's going on. Does that make sense? So the cosmic radio is the new cosmic vibe, the new codes, the new all this stuff. It's coming in 1,000 flavors. And so this cosmic radio comes in, then it distills down. So you have this process of the collective coming in on a larger scale. And at the same time, then you broadcast out. And this is where you are being realigned, not with your identity. You notice how good luck on being who you were. So your costumery, your identity of that which worked, in most cases isn't. And so you have to re-identify yourself, restructure, re-clarify this process. And that means if no longer you're working with time as money, and suddenly you might hit a pocket, and you got to learn how to manifest and trust and listen to that voice. This is the new modus operandi. And so we'll do a quick 3 breaths to soul, and that will get you to this simple, still space where you can start observing this from the center point that is not caught in the ravages of all this movement. And so 1, 2, 3, we will begin on your first breath. You will breathe in yourselves. Breathe in everything that you identity, and hold that energy. This is everything that you are as an individual. What defines you? What is your character, identity, your possessions? Exhale now and let that all go, because you are now getting rid of all of that you have been, because it no longer may fit into what you are already becoming. Fall into that stillness. Feel that peace. It's like going in and just going, after a long day in your most comfortable chair that you would never get rid of, I am home. Now take another breath of your spirit, the one above that guides you with this greater purpose, the reason why you are here, that whether you're on it or not, just breathe it in, the greater reason. Hold that energy. Breathe in the stillness, breathe in the quantum. Mingle it together. And now exhale, release the purpose of your reason on this planet and fall into the solace, the stillness within the stillness, and just let yourself uncreate. Now feel that, where you no longer have to be someone or who you've been. What is that like? You see, every time we do this breathing recalibration, you get to be reset. You've heard of reset? Well, this is on the soul level. So now you just relax, allow this non-existence, just expand, let yourself go, unwind all the different aspects. You might even no longer need to be in the same human form. Now breathe in the soul above. This is the collective identity of yourself and your universal identity. This is the soul that is the spark of this furnace of creation, the crucible in the heart of God. It is the animation of all life. And breathe in that soul purpose, the greater universal self. Hold that energy. Breathe in the nothingness, the solace. Breathe in the stillness of releasing yourself. And exhale that. And the gateway opens up within. And now fall into that inner gateway that the angels are opening. As the veil parts, allow yourself to just go into that furnace, that beautiful light within. That is the animus. It is not something that's too bright. This is your home that you brought with you. As you feel this soul space, you notice how it is so different, and it may feel a little odd, or maybe you're at home finally. This is how close heaven is. It's right inside. And so as this mingles through you, this is the place that you can observe life. The ravages of chaos, of the intellect, of identity, of the ego, like bouncy castle stuff of drama. That's a story that ravages out there. But if you're in your soul and you're observing this, it's really way beyond the Zen. You're objectively observing yourself and your existence. And if you do this from a distance, observing yourself in your life, you can then third party remove, say, wow, look at me, I'm triggered, or I'm angry, or like you said, asshole mode. And now Todd is watching his own expression of assholeanism, which is a very ancient civil society, or it's a very secret society. And they train world leaders nowadays in that, in part of the extra credit, if you haven't noticed. And so then all of a sudden Todd's watching, whoa, look at the Todd. He's out there going, rah, rah, rah. It's like, why? You get to ask different questions or just put out a request. Why is Todd triggered? Wow. And then if you listen to with the quiet, by not listening, because you're in a quantum state, this is what will happen. The information will come in at a different level. Now you're getting into the God stream of information, of the data. Because one of the things that they did as you incarnated into the third dimension, they had to distill down and fractalize your oneness so that you could be small enough to incarnate as an individual, was they separated the data from the energy. Now you're bringing that back together. Because what's good is all this energy, oh my God, but you don't know what to do with it. As this comes together, the new prophecy comes in, the one that's been out doing things. So you guys are part of the fabric of the new prophecy, and stay in that stillness, and you will then become this automatic expression. Imagine if your soul was your life. What would it do in this world? And how would you make the world a better place? What legacy are you going to leave as a soul having a human experience? In this, each of you are the change. Each of you are the fulfillment of prophecy. Each of you have the same power as all of that you are connected with in the quantum state. You are a spark of God. Therefore, you have the power of source to fulfill your destiny as a gift for one another. We ask you now, are you ready to fulfill that? Are you ready to be in that full space? If you are, just say yes, and the universe will do the rest. Thank you for flying air cartons.
Thank you for that. That was my favorite exchange with Cartron that I've ever had. You know, they've all been good.
Oh,
But
God, we can be such buddies now.
Oh my God.
Wow. We're in your aura.
He's like a tall cosmic marshmallow.
Wow, you're just so present.
That's because I got the assholing out of me already from
That's
today.
why we showed up after that.
It was it was a short one. It wasn't a long one. Yeah, I mean, this is very inspiring to me. It's very motivating to me. You know, if I think about the last 8 years of Soulogy, like most of our journeys, it started in darkness and we transmuted darkness. And then, but there's something about the revolutionary frequency of the human story. And I still say the human is the hero. I understand that my own multidimensionality. I understand well, as much as I can, the infinite complexities of the universe and the beautiful simplicity of the universe. But there's a reason that we're conscious here. There's a reason that we are 99% of the time, or at least up until very recently, we're conscious as the human consciousness. Something's changing, something's altering, and it's not like we're going to leave it behind. I don't think we're going to leave it behind. I think we're actually going to get into what they were talking about earlier, which is the embodiment of all that we are, and actually putting it into this dense physical matter and becoming alchemists and magicians and healers and supernatural beings beyond what we've experienced before, maybe even beyond what this universe has ever seen before. And I think from people that we've had on the show that channel, that have communications with intelligence complexes, star family, many people have come on this show and they have said, you guys are the darlings of the universe. We can't believe how fast you've traveled, how far you've come, and we have no idea how far you're going to take it. We have a tremendous amount of support. We all have huge teams behind us. Rebekah's right. We all forget to ask, but there's not one person watching this live or watching the replay or standing in this room right now that hasn't had their request for help that hasn't been answered. You know, I did it 2 days ago, and then of course yesterday I talked about what happened yesterday, but I did it in my mind silently with my partner right next to me. I said, please come in and help. This is getting a little bit off kilter. And sure enough, what happens? It always works that way. I'm going to hand the mic back to Rebekah. I just want to repeat, because a lot of people have come in. There's a 111's been up on that for most of the time. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock Eastern time at Solterra here, we're going to broadcast, stream, and also participate in a cosmic improv, which I'm excited to see what that's going to be. We're also going to have 2 or 3 interviews out of Solterra tomorrow. If you guys are in the Palm Harbor area tomorrow, please come by. We've got some friends coming from Utah. I think there's a couple of friends locally coming by. It ought to be an interesting 2 hours. So, and if you do come down this way later in the year, please stop by Solterra. They got a great thing going here. We're just getting acclimated with it. And I just want to say a big thank you to Lassa and everybody over here for putting us up and letting us plug in and have a little fun.
Awesome. And I was gonna ask, do you have any cool music? Do you have any cool music by any chance?
Yeah, would you like to get it out?
No, wait, he does. If it's a hassle, never mind. Okay. I just wanted to end my part with an activation. Not to feed anyone's addictions, but we're all energy junkies once in a while, which is a positive addiction on many levels. Oh, it's okay. We can do it without it. Okay. Yay.
We believe in you, Todd.
Awesome. So as Todd's getting this up, yeah, my biggest gift isn't there. Honestly, I would say you guys are better talkers than me. Mine comes through what I can generate to help people. So if anyone listening would like to receive this activation, if you could set an intention with amazing 111 popping up on the screen for an amazing miracle that you either need or wish to create in this now moment. And we're all going to collaborate our energies and collectively hold the vision for each and every one of you. And we're going to send an energy wave into everyone's third eye. So the energy will kind of pass through your third eye and out of the back of your head. And as we do that, if you want to close your eyes and hold the vision for at least 20 seconds or so of this amazing miracle. And let's collectively set an intention for a miracle for all of us here tonight to maybe go to the next level, take it even higher. Because the higher we vibrate, the higher we affect and everyone around us. This is going to come into the third eye. And don't forget that no matter what happens, no matter what hell you go through, this is only temporary. The one greatest message of the angels is that we were created in love, by love, and for love. And we're returning home to love. No matter what craziness you see around us, that's our destiny. So, and it's going to be the most beautiful paradise. It already is, that awaits us beyond description.
And sometimes love is the brightest thing in your life. Get it?
Yes. Oh,
And
yes.
so
That's ideal. We got love behind it.
This
Love's
is-
all around us.
we are,
He's quick.
you guys, just to let you know that, and we can tell you this now. Do you know what the thing that's exciting heaven right now is?
Yes. You guys are all vibrators, by the way, so we just turn the speed up.
Say that again. What?
We are all vibrators on some level. We vibrate, so we just turn the dial up.
Oh, we just turned it up.
What is exciting heaven right now is the you that you are becoming, because you are like this exciting new possibility. that which you have been told constantly is that, yes, they're very excited to see because you are the prototypes. The star systems, the worlds you're from, and all of that, and what you've gone through. It is the experiences that you have which have enhanced the code systems of your matrix. From the Genesis codes that you received to this enhancement of your journey of many lives. These are the missing pieces. And it's these things that everybody was given pieces, right? And so nobody had the whole movie. And now you're all coming together. So whenever you meet, even if it's to talk or even on the internet, you're adding these codes together, and this becomes a new prophecy. So heaven is very excited that you are coming home and bringing all of these exciting genetic and code stories with you. So that's what they're excited about, because you guys are graduating. It's like, whoa, so the stories you will tell of your life as a third, oh boy. And just know there's other star systems, other races. Earth will become this showcase. And so, especially as the new Earth comes in, they're going to want to safely experience what it's like to be diminished. And so some of you may become, tour guides or ride runners in the thing. So we're just letting you know that heaven is very excited to hear what you have to say. And we want to thank you for being our heroes of heaven, because you truly are what you have been waiting for.
I want to thank Todd and Soulogy for having us. This is so cool. When you watch people on streaming, it's amazing. I was telling him the other night, when you meet them in person, it's kind of like, oh my God, you're actually real. This is cool. So yeah, if any of you, while he's on tour, want him in your town, give him a shout out. He's a really nice guy. He's really cool and does some amazing rap music I've seen on the other videos. So yeah, a lot of fun.
In fact, we will say this, and we're not putting you on the spot, but if somebody's ready to expand your thing and get you in front of a very large audience, are you okay with that?
Yeah, we're okay with that.
Like 2 to 10,000, 20,000 people, and suddenly you are there bringing in the Toddism that you are. Thank you, everybody. This has been really good.
Yeah, this was
and
fun.
This is Cartron Experience, Angels 911. Hello, and you'll notice how this one's going to be a grandmother in about a week, and she gets younger and younger all the time, so don't even go there. And thank you so much, Todd, for having us. And it's just begun, this adventure.
True. Yeah, we talked about doing this months ago, and it's come to fruition. So I just want to say thank you both. It's what a dynamic duo this couple is. Angels 911, Cartron Experience. They both do session work. You guys can find them on Facebook. You can reach out to them, reach out to me if you want to get in touch with them. But they got a lot to offer, and they're walking the talk. And so we had dinner with them the other night. We had a really enjoyable experience. And we're just going to keep the ball rolling. So we'll see you tomorrow night, 7 to 9, Cosmic Improv in Palm Harbor at Solterra, and 2-3 shows going to be coming at you tomorrow. We got Grace Solaris on at 1 p.m. Eastern. Well, that ought to be interesting. She might disappear again on camera like she did when she channeled Mother Mary, or something else spectacular could happen. Be looking for the miracles. Be looking for Soulogy to cover them. Thank you so much. Peace out, everybody. It's going to take a second. We're still on. Yeah, there's a lag. All right.